Zahra, your time in the kingdom is basically how long have you been here?
Throughout, I came here in 2003 and left 2005 and came back 2007. So from 2007 till now it's 14 years
14.
plus the two.
So were you always in this period of time in Jeddah, or were you in Riyadh or any other city?
No, I've always been in Jeddah and we visited the other places, but in Jeddah, that's where we stayed here. And we lived on a compound initially,
Okay.
which was very nice. And me being the person that wants to meet and do things, I made sure I met people, you know. So when I came here in 2003, I decided out of my own to just contact everybody that lived in that compound,
Right.
so that I could find out what's going in the country, because I had no knowledge of this country at all. So yeah, and alhamdulillah, we met many people. I met many people, and they came to coffee mornings at my house. And yes, from there, I learned so much about Jeddah itself.
So your journey basically started off from this compound, and you moved off it after some time.
Yes.
So what were your initial impressions of Saudi, and what did you expect it to be?
Well, yes, I had an expectation. I had the expectation that coming to Saudi Arabia, it is very holy. It is very, I'll find what I find back home. Unfortunately, when I entered the airport, I noticed even just on the airport, the people working on the airport weren't that friendly. I have to say that. However, later on, I noticed the change, mashallah. But my expectations of it wasn't what I expected. And my husband always told me, do not expect it to be a rose garden, because there are things that you won't approve of like in any other country. Yeah.
Interesting. So, in your case, there's people who come to the kingdom saying, I'm here to learn Islam or relearn. However, in your stage of maturity, of understanding, and even your experience practicing Islam back home, right? You already sort of had an established idea of the version of Islam that you have adapted to, you and your family. And then coming here, did you find a clash in terms of, your beliefs being,
no doubt there is a very big difference. And yes, we have Islam, teaching Islam obviously should be the same, following the Quran and the Sunnah. When I came here, I was actually searching because I wanted to study Arabic and I wanted to study Quran. There were many Quran places, but very many Arabic places as well, but I couldn't find one for just me, an expat. There was very few. You had to go to private people for them to teach you. Way after many years, I eventually found a school. And yes, I attended the schools of Quran and Arabic and whatever else. It did clash in a little bit in a way from what I am used to, from what I follow, should I say?
you want to be specific? Why not?
Okay, why not? Well, in South Africa, I belong to a Sufi order.
Okay.
And obviously, it initially had been very discreet here, and somehow one also, in particular environments, you have to be discreet about it. Because I could see that there was a situation of this is a no-no, that is a no-no, that is a no-no, in the particular school that I was at, So I was kind of careful in that situation. However, my yearning for seeking the Sufism, the like-minded people, I was searching for that. I was searching for that for a very long time. But however, I forgot about this totally when I came initially to Saudi. Okay, I'll come back to my seeking story.
Sure.
When I initially came to Saudi in 2003, then already I was seeking. And Allahu Alam, I don't know how, but it just comes to you. And I met a lady, right? The name was Alia, and she lived in Tahliya area. I became friends with her. Unfortunately, I lost the contact because my email has been spammed, and I just lost all contact with her. And she moved apparently, but she was a Sufi, and she was from the Sheikh Al Alwi.
So she was a local?
She was a local,
Local,
yeah. A local,
okay.
yeah. And we met at gatherings at her place. And Sheikh Alwi, he passed on in 2004 Ramadan. Because I remember being in South Africa, Cape Town, and we did Salatul Ghaib for him after Tarawih prayer.
Yes.
I had no knowledge about him at that time, and I was into my Sufism because I started in 2001. But 2004, so I didn't know too many. And then when I came to Saudi, I met this lady, we went there, and I was fortunate enough to have met his two daughters, and to his Sheikh Alawi's two daughters and his sister. Because we went to, like, you know, when the 40 nights after the janaza,
Right.
they had a gathering, and we met there in a dhikr program. And I forgot all about this, and it just came to mind. So amazingly, it came to me basically, right? So as time went on, I was looking for, you know, that passed on and things went on. It's me being the person wanted to be involved with gatherings, and I was looking. Lo and behold, when I met you, before I even met you, I searched the internet for
Okay.
anything
Yeah.
in Saudi. I even searched Hadra in Saudi. I searched everything in Saudi. But there was, and I saw many videos.
Okay.
But it's always on the outskirts, and it's always men and things.
Mecca.
Makkah, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, who do I contact to get to any of these places? Then I found Kudra Healing. And I thought, okay, what is Kudra Healing? Because I'm into Afia healing.
So it showed up in the Google results?
No, I looked on the Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just was going through
Yeah.
Facebook, and I saw this Kudra healing. And because I'm doing Afia healing,
Yes.
I thought maybe it's got connection or
Yeah.
something, and that's when I messaged you. And I was very happy when I got a response. I didn't expect a response though, because
Yeah.
I have messaged
Experienced.
so many.
Experienced the shut door.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so that's part of your experience to be able to try to reach out.
Yes.
You've attempted to reach out, but you
But-
had people who kind of just said,
Close the door, or it's just, you know, they don't want
Yeah,
to
they don't
open
wanna
up because
open up.
who are you?
yeah.
You know, it could be anybody, and I understand that. So when I got that response from you, yes, when you get back to Saudi, we can meet. And I was excited about that.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, alhamdulillah, you had a Muharram program and you invited me.
What was that about?
The Karbala program.
Okay, Karbala in Jeddah.
In Jeddah, Karbala
Okay,
in Jeddah,
Jeddah.
that's right, yes, mashallah.
Right.
I met you and I met these other people
Yeah.
with a complete gathering happening, the
Yeah.
mashallah Sufi gathering.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't realize, I just thought it was a gathering. But after I spoke to you, and you mentioned that you are Naqshbandi,
Yeah.
and you got ijaz from the sheikh, and I was, wow, you know, I was like taken, I was taken by that. I was emotional because I could not believe it.
Yeah.
You know, that it's here in Saudi.
Yeah.
And actually, but you know, what stood out to me is that, you know, my seeking brought me
Yeah.
to seekers.
Yes.
Basically.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was that was really profound to me.
Right. I want to just ask you specifically, you mentioned you were part of a particular Sufi order. Would you mind sharing what that order is and who the sheikh is? I had seen photos, and I must say that this sheikh, mashallah, being a descendant of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is just like, he looks so powerful.
Mashallah. he is.
Mashallah. I mean, he gives off
Ya
that
Rab, ya Rab,
real,
ya Rab.
very powerful, you know, countenance of his. Allah preserve his secret. So, what order is this, and who is the sheikh?
It's a Shadaliya order,
Okay.
and our sheikh is Sheikh Hazim Abu Hazala. Now, I must say, I have attended in South Africa many Sufi orders in search. Tijani, the Naqshbandi, the Alawis, whatever, I went there, you know. but I needed to. I just, for some reason or that, everybody has their own feeling
Sure.
with their own Sufi order. But I was with the Shadili, and our Sheikh, mashallah, I don't know, he was just so welcoming, and not that I've met the other sheikhs personally.
right.
I haven't met them personally,
Yeah.
but because I've met this sheikh
Yeah.
personally. So it made a big difference,
Yeah.
and made impact on me. And I have never taken bay'ah. Never taken bay'ah for a very long time because I was in search. But one day, out of the blue, I was in a place called Strand in Cape Town, and there was a sheikh speaking, and he was just explaining simple words. What is bay'ah? Just basically connecting yourself with the sheikh. And if you, like he said, the example he gave is like when you go to a gym, you have a leader, a teacher.
Yeah.
You have in the Sufi order, in your group here, you have a sheikh that teaches you. And that was just simple explaining to me. Because I was personally, I was like, am I doing the right thing? Once I commit myself, I must commit myself, right? So in any event, it just happened. And that night I took bay'ah after probably about 8 years.
Wow.
Moving around, but my regular was always at the Shadiliya on a Friday night, and I had not taken bay'ah. People were quite shocked that they heard that I've not taken bay'ah yet, but I needed to know when I was ready, because it's a commitment. It's a commitment, yeah.
And it has to come, naturally.
Yeah, it has to come naturally, yeah.
So now I want to just make a connection here. You're taking bay'ah or allegiance to a Sufi master, connecting you to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family, and following an injunction in the order to take pledge upon the Prophet, peace be upon him. Did that sort of experience occur after you moved to Saudi? Meaning, were you already living there, and then while you were in South Africa it occurred, or did
No,
you
no,
come?
in South Africa.
So before you technically moved.
Before I moved to
Okay.
South Africa, I was already there.
Okay.
So that is why when I came to Saudi, not knowing what to expect here, what people's perception is of Saudi here is like nothing of these things is supposed to be happening here. It's not allowed. You get locked up and things like that. So that was always, that always worried me. But yet I came and I was looking and I was seeking, and I found,
Yes.
and I definitely found people doing it.
Yes.
People involved in Sufism. And fortunately, I'm very fortunate in the sense that Sheikh, before, not now, he's a bit old now, but he used to come on a regular basis to perform Umrah. And I was fortunate to meet him all the time when he comes here to Jeddah, and in Makkah too, and Medina, mashallah.
Yes.
So yes, I had the opportunity of meeting our Sheikh there.
Okay, mashallah. So basically the gatherings of the mystics or the Sufis is alive, they're
Very
happening, and it's not something that is impossible to access or find.
No,
In
it's-
your experience,
in my
right? And
experience.
you've been to
Yeah,
Mawalids here, am I correct?
Yes, I have.
Been to Mawlids.
I have many times. I mean, just recently we
Yeah.
had one, and yes, on a regular basis we attended programs.
Right. So these followers, whether they're from the same or different orders, or just simply associated with spirituality, they gather. People gather here
Yeah.
within their homes, or is it a public thing from your experience, or is it private?
It was more private.
Okay.
More private. I have not had a public opportunity yet.
Right.
But they are public. Are they? Yeah, they are public.
Public or
yeah.
large scale?
It's large scale, not more
Right.
public, but large scale.
Right.
But I believe that sooner or later it's going to be more open.
Right.
Because I'm hearing more, because I'm in the circle, I'm seeing and hearing more of programs happening.
Okay.
Around town basically.
Around. The artistic element of your work, I've come across a lot of your photography and your video footage. You've documented your travels through both mediums. What do you plan to do with all this photography? Do you have something that you can share with others who are either interested or a larger audience?
Yes, I've already written a book, and My intention was not to print it for sale, but just to have it as a coffee table book. But I am being encouraged by many people to sort of have it printed. And yes, I have, over my years of experience, it has been documented with pictures and everything. And I've also, the activity back home, I've written a book on that as well.
Activity, meaning you're
working with the substance abusers and the gangsterism, the people against gangsterism. That's the organization I work for and work with. So we are just ordinary people, normal people, and we're working. And I've written my story
Okay.
in that as well. So basically, at this point in time, I have 2 books, amongst other small short stories of experiences. Yeah.
Interesting. So
Let's
a
see what
memoir.
happens. Yeah, memoirs. Yeah, let's see what happens in the near future.
Okay,
Inshallah.
we look forward to that. We really do.
Inshallah.
I think that would be a great insight
Mhm.
to be able to share or experience a bit of your experience.
Experience,
Yeah.
inshallah.
And I see, by learning about your work and knowing you for these many years, alhamdulillah, I see that, apart from your activism, your social work, your ability to, teach and impart education, knowledge, all of that put together, plus you're a mother of how many?
3.
3. Okay, so you've got your,
Family
family,
home.
your mother, a grandmother too, mashallah. All of this put together, plus the healing. I see that the work that you do all ties into healing, right? Whether it's
Mostly.
on a personal level or for the community or
Sure.
for hearts. So what sort of healing work are you involved with? How would you classify it? And any experiences that you want to share here?
Yes, I basically have been doing something which they call Afia healing, basically health healing, and it's a form of energy healing. And then I also do emotional freedom healing, emotional freedom technique, which has, yes, impacted on many people that I've been working with here. A lot of people don't understand the energy healing as such, because I've done it with some of my students, my students that studied with me, and immediately their thoughts went, what on earth is this? It doesn't look right, doesn't. But I have to explain, because everything is with Qudra of Allah.
Yes.
And yes, there is a whole spiritual aspect to it, which we've been taught by this brother Zuhair Khirash, and he's also a very good spiritual leader.
Yeah.
So he guides us in that nothing we do is without the help of Allah.
Yes.
So, and yes, the people that I have worked with here, I'm still seeing. I see on a daily, not on a daily basis, like twice a week, weekly, still right now.
Right.
And soon I'll be leaving. I've just got people saying, you need to come, you need to come, you need to come, So, yes, basically it's energy healing
Okay.
and emotional freedom technique. That is a passion of mine, working with people. My career is actually designing.
Okay.
The career is actually designing.
Designing.
Yes, yeah. However, designing, I have the designing skill. I've worked in companies back home, but way before I came to Saudi, and I was involved. I got involved with my organization. I realized, that made me realize that designing is not important, because I was working with people with issues, people with problems, and I was designing, and every week I had to have a new outfit. I realized that was not important. There are more important things than clothing. Though I still have the flair to want to do more, and hopefully now that I'm leaving, I will pursue that teaching in people, inshallah.
And perhaps even open up your own line.
Yeah, inshallah. No, that is no doubt about
No
it.
doubt
yeah,
about
no
it.
doubt about it. Yeah.
Good. We
No,
look
no doubt
forward
about it.
to
Yes,
that.
no doubt about it. I've had my own business before.
Right.
Obviously, moving to
Yes.
Saudi, everything closed. I had
Yeah.
a drug rehabilitation center as well,
Okay.
for ladies only. So
Wow.
that also unfortunately had to close when I left, because you needed people firm. Because I studied in Singapore my drug rehabilitation program, and I've been to Australia for same program. So yeah, so my passion is with people,
Wow.
working with people,
Okay.
and being involved with Sufism. There's a lot of understanding that comes, and how to be with people, how to deal with people, and it really softens your heart. No doubt, it softens your heart. And yes, my passion for working with people is much huger than my designing
Right.
skill. My designing skill will be teaching now.
Right,
For future,
right,
inshallah.
right. It'll help women come out
Absolutely.
as unique individuals.
Mhm.
Now, you mentioned about rehab from drugs and so forth, addictions. Did you find here locally a void in such centers or institutes or a support for this? Just in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Not-
quickly, briefly, what happened
Yeah.
is when I initially came here, because of my passion working with people, I heard that there was somebody involved with drugs here, and I went in search for a hospital or something. That was my second week of being in this country. I went in search of finding a place where I can be of service. To no avail, nobody said anything. They weren't open to tell me anything. There's no place like it. Eventually, after days of calling hospitals, nothing. I then phoned the Ministry of Health, which is in Riyadh, and I asked him, is there a drug rehabilitation center? Lucky the person could speak English, and he said, of course. In Jeddah is a very big one. And I said, oh, really? And then he said to me, so I asked, well, is there anything for me to do there? He said, of course, there should be anything, sister, you can help, no problem. This is what he said to me. So he gives me the number, and I start phoning the hospital. Not open to me, not interested. No. Eventually I thought, now how am I going to get into this hospital? I want to meet somebody. I picked up the phone one day and I called and I pretended to be a substance abuser. And I said, please, I need help. I need help. Hashish, cocaine. I want to come. I need a doctor. The person said to me, come, sister, come, sister. And that's how I got into the hospital.
Okay.
I met a psychologist there. I did a workshop for doctors in the hospital.
Okay.
Aman Hospital. And for 1 year, I was basically working there, but not with pay, voluntary working there, doing research, working with a social worker. Obviously, there was a language barrier breakdown. So I couldn't do much, but many things I did in English, and which they needed. Okay.
So drug abuse is there now. Coming
Very
back,
big hospital,
right?
though.
So drug abuse is a problem
Yeah,
that
definitely.
exists.
Definitely, no
Yet
doubt.
we don't have support for such individuals, because I've heard of, I've had people also have siblings who had to go overseas for rehab instead of finding something here. Now, coming from that spiritual background or incorporating spirituality into the rehab, do you find that is more potent?
More important.
Okay.
Even back home, it's
It's
extremely,
essential. It's essential
extremely.
to everything that you're doing. Spirituality.
Yeah, when I speak to people, I always say include Allah in everything you do, irrespective of what it is. Now, because I studied in Singapore, unfortunately, the rehab here runs the same program as I studied in Singapore. So they understood me and I understood them.
Okay.
So, but it's a program, it's a New York program, it's called the Therapeutic Community, and it's a straight-based program. No Islamic
yeah.
value or God conscious. Well, no,
Yeah.
someone said they do say believe in your higher power.
Okay.
But what is the higher power? Who is the higher power for that individual? It could be anybody. Okay. So with me incorporating, I changed a lot of things in it because I brought Islamic value in because of my teachings within the Sufi order, and I researched on it and I implemented it in my program. Right. So, and what I found in my experience is there is definitely a lack of Islamic knowledge to many of those who turns to substance abuse. Maybe there is Islamic knowledge, but it's gone away because whatever the issue it was. So that strength of Islamic value and knowledge has sort of gone by the wayside and needed to be brought in again.
Okay.
And that I definitely find is extremely important.
Now, as we're coming sort of to a close, I wanna just say that based on what you've shared with me and also what I know from previous, I see you as a walking institute. And I would like the viewers to kind of, take this as an opportunity to even consider supporting or even investing in the idea, which just basically came to me as we're speaking, is that I sort of envision when you go back home, and that idea will mushroom globally, inshallah. But let's start off with one, is an idea or a concept where you have this sort of base or an institute or spiritual sort of, like the concept of a zawiya, but not so much focused on the spiritual sciences. We're talking about issues related to the community, rehab for drugs, spiritual healing, understanding the ABCs of what healing comprises of, understanding yourself, the people around you, all of that. And so being a person who has trained not just surface but deep into these sciences, and also you've taken certification plus the experience and groundwork that you've done here and abroad and wherever else, I envision an actual institute being established in South Africa by individuals who are willing to invest into the community by establishing this institute. And I'm proposing this idea basically as we speak, and this is a surprise to you, but this is not like a planned discussion here. But I actually envision it, and then creating a model where you can actually replicate this in different parts of South Africa or parts of the city, the main areas, and then have it go forward. In that institute you would be able to impart spiritual teachings, healing modalities, and you can bring in experts such as Zuhair and people in the community for rehab, design, not A to Z, but specific chapters within, and even you do work in terms of working with communities that are affected by gang presence of gangs and so forth. So all of this is very essential. So to have an actual established sort of entity, and having an individual like yourself who's not just fresh out of the place, you have experience behind you and wisdom, and a passion and a heart that wants to help. I do see that as something that must be done. So that's how I see it, and I really appreciate your time.
No doubt at
How
all.
can people contact you? Are you on various platforms?
I'm on Facebook and I am on Instagram now, and I suppose I can always leave my contact number at the end of the video or something like
Sure.
that. You can put it on.
Okay, we can include all of that in there. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.